Hey guys, Colbert here. Welcome back to another Watcher of Realms video. Guys, today I'm not alone. I'm back with another collab with Ash, the one and only Ash. Ash, welcome back to the channel. How are you, man?
Cold brew, my pleasure, man. My pleasure. It's great to be here. Loving the game.
Yeah, we both love the game. That's why we've been playing it every single day, posting videos. And we
Yep.
are here today to tell you about our own most used, maybe most favorite heroes in Watcher of Realms. I know the game is relatively new to us, but we found our a lot of our favorites. We've been using them more than anything else. We each have our own five. We put them down in, like our notes, and we're gonna share it with you guys. I'll start it out. Okay, I just want to say not everyone has this hero. It's a very difficult one to get since it's a Lord hero, but I just wanted to get it out because is such a game changer, and it's the one and only, all right, Twin Fiend. I just love this guy so much. So difficult to get Lords. I know, guys.
Congratulations. Yeah, I don't have them.
It's so difficult to get
I'm
the
rocking a
Lords.
Pyros. That's it, cold brew.
You're gonna have to settle with Pyros for now. He's like the smaller version, the baby
Yes.
version of Twin Fiend, but he provides so many different buffs to the team through his focus fire skill that I just find it just an amazing thing, because when he activates that, he just calls everybody to stop whatever you're doing, attack that guy. We all hate that guy specifically, so everybody just channels through to him, to Twin Fiend. He attacks, he does a big burst, and then everybody gets penetration increase, crit rate increase, crit damage increase for 10 seconds. Okay, just an amazing skill. Other than that, he does some magic damage. He goes into an infernal state, boosting his own damage, and he can also apply burning, which adds on top of that to a lot more damage. He's also a Lord, has that added on top of that. But I find that I've been using him a lot because of this to single out heavy heavy health targets, high health targets, where I need to use, let's say, my Zilitu, who might be on the other side of the map. If you do this, it doesn't matter. He channels through regardless, and you take down those big targets. And he helped me so much to clear the Nightmare Void Rift. I couldn't do it without him, honestly. And
So
he just
that's my
becomes
problem.
I would say, yeah.
That's. Do you have him fully awakened?
No, no,
Oh, that
no.
was just okay. That's just
Just
how it shows. I was like, whoa, bro, that's a flex, man. Now, that's awesome, man. I'm very jealous. He's definitely up on the top, if not. I think like he and Salazar are my most wanted heroes in the game. I think
yeah, definitely.
very beast mode. Did you had Pyros? Did you use Pyros before you got Twin
No,
Fiend or
no.
no?
I got Twin Fiend and Morrigan, two Lords, in the first, I think, 100 summons I did ever.
Oh wow.
So
Good for you, man. Good for you.
so I was so
gonna ask you, like,
spoiled.
what kind of a difference you noticed between the two, like when you switched, but it looks like that's not the case. So I
I was
got
so spoiled. I was like, oh, it's just okay. You could just get it in the first summons. What's
right.
the problem? And then 3,000 summons later, I haven't gotten a copy of him
I remember on
again.
that they've got to crank the odds at some really good heroes on your first summons in this game, because
Must be
I remember
something. I don't know.
my first summoning video. I was just pulling, like, I got like a Vierna and Eloin, and I'm like, this is so easy. And then since then it's been to your point, it's
Just
like,
try it out. Yeah.
yeah. Okay, great choice there. I wish I could agree with you, but I don't have them, but I would love to. Mine is actually going to be Ardia.
Right.
Man, she's brand new. At least at the time of this recording, about a week old in the game, and I love this fighter. I pulled her not even like I pulled her the day she was released, and I didn't even have time to like hype myself up or review her kit. So I wasn't even sure what I was walking into here. And oh my God, I mean, you can see already just on the base stats that like it's all there for her to be absolutely amazing. She has almost 8,000 base attack, which
It's
is
nuts.
absurd. So, I mean, she just, what can I say? She's just like the best damage dealing fighter I have, and it's not even close. And I have Arrogance, and I have Zillitu, and I have,
Mm,
she can deal the same amount of damage as, like, it, depending on the situation, obviously, but as a Hex or a Hatsuit or something like that, like
mm.
my best DPS units. Uh, so here's the upsides and the downsides. So the upside on this hero is that she has insane range. It's even further than an Arrogance by one tile, right? So she, I think it's like 5 or whatever squares. You can see it, right?
Yeah,
It's great, and so she's amazing in that regard. She throws these scythes or whatever these weapons are. It deals AoE damage. I mean, look on her. I don't even have her skills up, but on her basic, attack up to 7 targets
7
one time
targets.
on the basic. It's
That's
pretty crazy. She enters into a frenzy state and she does insane damage. She's throwing her sabers. She's doing like 100k per hit. It's absolutely bonkers. Game changer. The only downside is that she kills herself slowly, you know? So she's all about sapping her own HP. She won't kill
yeah,
herself. So I lie a little bit, but she'll take herself down to 1 HP. Where she
right.
does her most damage, right? So you got to be careful. There's so many maps in this game that have like, you know, periodic damage over time in certain areas, depending on where you are, Void Rift or campaign or whatever. Or, you know, she's a fighter. There's a lot of units that do damage to 2 tiles in front of them or whatever. So AoE damage. So you have to be careful. But if you can keep her alive or just be strategic or healed, you can still heal her as she does her thing too. She's my best DPS fighter, and like I said, it's not even close. She just absolutely changed my account. You throw her in anywhere, you know, throw her in Guild Boss, throw her in campaign and Void Rift and in anywhere, and she makes a massive difference. Gear Raid 1, I threw her behind the barrier at Cold Brew, and it's like, wow, she's
Is
just
doing
dealing.
work in there.
Yeah, she's doing work
Fantastic.
everywhere. It's insane. So there you go. I love her.
So many people just gave her a straight up 5 in so many
Right?
places.
The only downside, and again, I'm being very nitpicky here. The only other downside is that she is she doesn't target air, you know, like, and
Oh,
again,
okay.
I'm being really nitpicky here. She's great in the arena. She has to reduce cost by 5. In the arena, it's just again insane, man. She's just gonna go in there and just decimate everybody. I just kind of autoed my way to Overlord, like with my eyes closed, with
Yeah,
whatever the
just
team was, because she does that much damage. All right, I'm done drooling all over Ardia.
it's just
Who you
so
got
nuts
next?
because we were looking at this on the website earlier and how the second one on the list is like 1,500 attack lower base than her, and it's Salazar, and she's got 8,000 attack. It's just nuts because
It
you
is.
give her attack percent each time. You give her like a big piece of attack percent on the primary stat. It
Oh
just
yeah.
boosts her up to. She must have like over 20,000 on your account, and it's just
I don't have great gear, and she's at 24k on
yeah.
my
Just
account.
just
You know,
imagine on those end game accounts that have her
that's what
as
I'm gonna say.
awakened.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah.
completely nuts. All right. Next
All
one.
right.
From my list, it's one you wanted to also say, but I said no. I'm gonna call it out. I'm gonna.
This is the only one that we both had on our list, by the way.
Yeah. And it's gonna be Setrum. I mean, I just love. The first time I saw him, I think it was one of Ivy Lee's videos, and it was the very first few days I was playing. I saw this champion looking like a robot. I thought, okay, that looks cool. And then the ultimate started, and it's just blasting on
Oh.
enemies. And the animation and all that, I was hyped so much. I was like, I
It's
need
like,
this champion.
it's like a rocket launcher times a billion, bro. It's like insane, man.
And then he just powers down because it's like, of course, he
Yeah,
he went
overload.
overboard with all that damage. It totally makes sense. It's so much fun using the ultimate because you see that burst and you're like, yes, go.
It's so
And,
gratifying to see like bosses damage just go like when
yeah.
he locks on that ult, man. It's crazy.
And he just becomes so much better as you work on him. You give him more stats. He's so strong during his ultimate ability, and that's what makes him so special. He can stun, actually. That's what I didn't realize at the start, because I didn't see his whole talent, but he can actually stun a target at the start of the fight, and then he just boosts his own damage on shielded targets. He can help allies do that damage onto shielded targets as well once you awaken him, which I have awakened him. Did manage to pick up a few copies.
I have A1 on mine, yeah.
Yeah, that's where he gets, and then slowly he becomes obviously better with more awakenings up to the A5. But just an amazing champion that you don't even need to get 100% crit rate on, because he has a very unique passive which slowly gives him crit rate plus crit damage as long as he's attacking. So he slowly stacks it up, and you just get a huge boost to your crit rate by the time the he does all of his attacks. He's at 100% crit, and he just does an insane amount of damage. He only loses that a little bit once he does after the overload is finished, and he self repairs for like a couple of seconds. But an amazing champion.
Yeah, I agree,
Just
man.
love
I
it.
agree. Uh, so instrumental. I don't know about you, but like, I don't even know how I would ever beat Gear Raid 3 without Setrum. You know,
Hmm.
like that damage that he's able to output and take down that boss. You know, and in the
Yeah.
range. You know.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
Next up, I got probably one that's going to be on everybody's list, but it's Olog.
hmm.
Dude, he's my most used defender. He's a beast. He's free. He's an epic. I mean, that shield. Some people call it cheesy. I don't feel bad at all when I use it, man. I have no guilty. I sleep fine at night with my Olog defender, man. I love this dude, man. I mean, it's all about the shield. He's a very, very simple hero. You know, there's not much to him. He's just an absolute god of a tank. He's
just
yeah, I mean, I don't even know what else to say about him, but like anywhere you need a
he's
defender, look no further than Olog, you know?
I mean, the fact that he's absolutely free after the
Third, yeah,
developers
Void
just
Rift. Yeah.
yeah, they decided to just place him in the Void Rift. I was totally surprised with that decision and totally welcomed it, because although I did have a copy of him, just awakening him makes him even better
Mm-hmm.
and stronger and stronger. And I eventually awakened him fully because I use him in Nightmare
Same.
Void Rift, guys. He's that strong, and I have 4 other defenders. I have legendary defenders that I don't even use, like
Same.
Regulus, who's like a big tank, but
Same.
I use this guy because he just soaks up so much damage.
It's I don't want to give away
It's
my next choice, but I use two. I have so many of the top rated. I have Torador, I have Brokir, I have Regulus,
right.
like you said, and nothing against them. They're all great. Like I love all those heroes that I just named, but I still use two epics more often than I use those guys. You know,
All
which
right.
is says a
Let's
lot.
just not say
Yeah,
which ones there are, but
I
I'm
won't.
gonna call out my own epic, which I
Okay.
use a little bit. I use him in Gear Raid 1 and in Gear Raid 3. I used him in Gear Raid 3 for beating 21, and on Gear Raid 1 I beat 19 with him. And it's the one and only Mole, okay, the shark-looking dude. He
His
is.
ultimate literally is a shark. He's like,
It's just so much fun to actually use this champion. Just look at the shark just flying through the screen. The first time I realized what was happening, I was so excited. I wanted to get this champion. This hero becomes so much better once you awaken him. It's a slow process to awaken epics, even epics, but it will happen eventually for you guys. Once you get a few rewards from the Tide and the Guild Boss, but he is so good. He does a knockback damage, 750% that just goes up with the more skills you put in there. He does a slow also on his default skill, I believe, and then he also applies defense reduction. That is where he's so special for me, because if you don't have something already that can reduce the defense, right, reduce the defense of enemies, then just Mole is the answer for it. And that helped me in Gear Raid 1, where things become very tanky after a point, and I needed that defense reduction. And once you awaken him, he can actually freeze the targets, so his ultimate becomes even better, and then he becomes stronger and stronger as he becomes as you awaken him. So he's a definite carry, I would say, for the even the gold raid and the XP raid. Once you get to the final stages, he helps a lot with controlling things with his knockback or freeze ultimate ability.
totally agree. On Setrum, I said that I had one champion on the same list, but nah, you're right. I mean, Maul, to your point, I won't repeat everything you just said, but between his control, his debuffs, and his damage and his range too, put all that together, Gear Raid 1 and 3, he's like a staple. He's got to be of so many teams, right? He brings so much to the table. And again, when you can get him, if you can get him A5 eventually, bringing that cost down to 17 really helps out quite a bit as well.
Definitely. So yeah, let's go to the epics that you called out.
Yeah,
Let's
sure.
hear them out.
So Baron was the other dude. So Baron, like I was kind of late on. I was using actually those aforementioned legendary defenders a lot more than I was using Baron. I had him for a while, but I just didn't, like, you can't max everybody all the time, right? You kind of take
Right,
it
right.
one hero at a time. So I maxed him out finally. I had him early, but I didn't really utilize him. Had him at level 50. And then I mean, he just became so valuable because of his unyielding mainly. I mean, his shield
Mm-hmm.
and his unyielding is those two things, right? Unyielding
Yeah.
gives him unkillable, and the shield is like what 90% of his HP or something like that.
Yeah, it's a
It's
huge shield, I think,
you
that he
can book it
gets.
up, or I always say book it, crystal it up, or whatever, skill it up.
Skill it
Uh,
up, yeah.
yeah, and I mean, those two things, he's like an Olog and a Decimus or whatever, you know, like he's got
Decimus,
two of the,
Regulus, yeah.
yeah, he's got two of those things that you're really looking for, the unkillable and that big beefy shield to help the healers kind of catch up, or you to, you know, slot in your healers, whatever you're doing, or rotating your healers. So yeah, for me, Baron, I mean, at the end of the day, what am I looking for a tank? An Olog and Baron, someone who's not going to die and
Hmm.
give a little bit of leniency to my healers if they can't keep up with everything, or if I'm not placing them right away, you know? So you can smack down Baron right away in gear rate 3 or 2, excuse me, and he's going to stay alive for a bit, you know, and buy you that very valuable time. And as you're going through the awakenings too, I was
Yeah,
able
he
to get him
just
all the way to
becomes
A5, and just like all the other ones that we mentioned so far, it's a lot. That recovering his HP on A5, and I know it's very difficult to get even an epic to your point, so I don't mean to belabor the point, but restoring 50% HP after Immortal Wrath is the unyielding. So like after he's at 1 HP unkillable, he'll go and
back to
have a
50, and
50%
then
HP, which is really helpful. Yeah, yeah, keep him alive.
yeah, it helps you just go much longer and hopefully clear the stage with him. Huge epic, huge epic. One of the few I got at the start as well, I think, and he was like a very solid defender for a while until I got something better. And I myself was using other things, if I'm being honest, but I did use him in like gear 8 too, because he has that very unique unyielding, which only a few heroes in the game have.
What
So
do you who do you use right now for your like most used defenders on your account? Would you say?
most used defenders, it depends on what I'm trying to do, but let's say for Void Rift, I would use Broker and Olag.
Okay,
Broker and Olag at the moment,
gotcha.
because I find Broker being very tanky. Once you give him lots of health, he has like 110,000 health or something.
Gotcha. Yeah, Broke here, I'm not like, I don't want to hate on the dude because I know he's like really good, but
Yeah,
I think it's a gear issue for me, right? Like I don't,
might be that.
he just can't stay alive as long as Baron and Olag or anything close. Granted, he brings other stuff to the table, freeze and whatnot. But anyway, I digress. Who you got
Yeah.
next, man?
Next one on the list is gonna be a healer that is not one people would have expected. Okay, it's one I do like to use because it's very special. It's not the best healer by no means, but it's Ezrin. But because he has very unique things, and
Love that you have him on the list, man. Most people hate on him, and I love that
you,
you had him.
you
Yeah.
know why I love to use this guy, because he's like Idril, right? He has a
Yep.
global range heal, right? It's not as strong when that happens, but he's just, it's an amazing chance for you to get your allies, to keep them healthy when you are, you know, locked away by the limitations of the field, where you can place specific units in specific places. You can have your healer cover, let's say, one defender, and then your other healer has to be on the other side of the map. Well, what's that going to help? If you have Ezrin, he can actually help with that, and he has a talent where damage taken at the time will not exceed 60% of max health. So basically, you cannot get one shot when you have this talent. He actually transfers this talent onto the ally that he's healing, right? So that is very, very good for the Nightmare Void Rift, where you'll get one, even your Olag can get one shotted in there. They hit you and the whole shield just goes off. So if you have Ezrin in there, he can actually help you just get some heals through, have two healers, keep him healthy. And this guy just really shines for me. I don't have him maxed out completely. I just have the small skill ups on him, the ones that don't require the big crystals.
Yep.
But he
Yep.
still does good work, and I feel like he's a solid healer. Not the best by no means, but he's very unique, and that's why I enjoy using him.
I love it. I love him for the same reasons that you mentioned. He was one of my first. I think I actually got him before the next hero that I'm going to mention, who's an
Right.
epic, and I used him for a long time, and I still do
Nice.
in some situations. To your point, everybody, I forgot who it was. I was collabing with somebody early on. They were like, because I didn't use any skill crystals either on him, but I did use all the other, like the dust or whatever. And I was brand
Right.
new to the game, and they're like, I don't know, that's kind of a waste on Ezra. And man, I stand by it, man. Like to your point, that
Yeah.
global heal is so like sometimes you don't need a healer to cover like it could be like ancillary damage. You're just topping everybody off across the entire map or helping
Right.
out a self-sustaining hero like a Wrath or something in the corner, you know? Like there's so many use cases that I agree with you. It's a good call out.
100%.
All right. Vortex, man. I mean,
Mm.
Vortex is such a good freaking healer. I mean, I don't know. I feel like I'm going pretty chalky here. My last one is a little bit outside the box in terms of my selections, but Vortex, he's a simple dude. He's got the most obscenely huge range that is so unbelievably powerful because oftentimes if you play your, positioning right, he can do the job of two healers essentially by getting that massive range, saving you up another DPS spot or whatever on your team, and then the shield. So he's got the heals, the shield, and the massive range. Kind of
Yep.
like Olog. He's the Olog of healers, right? He just all about the shield
It's
survivability and just he. I mean, I've been lucky enough to pull a lot of legendary
healers.
healers, and Vortex still remains probably my overall most used healer in the game.
Uh, can't go wrong with that. I mean, 100%, no doubt. Vortex is MVP. I still use him in the guild boss. But basically everywhere that I need a healer, I use my Vortex. I haven't found a replacement, not yet, because
Nope.
he is HP based. So you build him tanky, so
Yep.
he can take a hit if it comes to that, and then he heals based on that, which is very crucial in this game. Some like gear 8 too, you get hit a lot,
Yeah.
and it hurts. So you gotta be able to take a hit, and some attack based healers just can't do that, and they fall off, and that's where Vortex, shines and becomes an MVP, I would say. My last one on the list is one definitely. I The audience, if they've been watching my channel, they've probably seen some guides I've done in the past where I've been using Sirene. I just love using her so much.
Ooh.
It feels like a cheat code using a hero that recovers cost. Okay, because I put her down and then she restores cost, basically more than what it cost to put her down
What is
on
her
the
cost? I'm
field.
blocking it.
Yeah, so she
What is
gives
her
back.
cost?
She's at 11, right?
Okay. Okay.
And if you gear her right, she could be 10, right? And then she restores cost, which is 12, which is more. She also boosts crit rate, and can reduce the attack speed on enemies. And if you awaken her, okay, her last awakening reduces the speed of enemies in range, so it can help you not only take down enemies, but also you bring in your heavy units as she's on the field longer and longer. You recover that cost, and then you can actually just withdraw her and recover
Yeah, I was
half
gonna
the cost.
say. Yeah. Yeah.
And depending on what your strategy is, usually you're not using one out of all the units that you have in there. So that could be Sirene. She's a unit that you'll use only for the first couple of minutes of a fight, maybe even just the first minute, and then you withdraw her, and she's done her job, and it's just so good and can actually help you do some cool things with high cost units such as Razak or even Mole, who's at 22, which we mentioned earlier.
Yeah. No, that's a great call out. I'm going to build her for that reason. I guess my only problem is, to be totally real with you, man, is that I'm starting to rely on too many heroes that I don't have to really use on my teams, because I got
Right.
Venoma for the rage boost. I got
Ah,
Volka
okay.
for the cost reduction, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, where do I, and then like Laurel to just like restore rage if I want to. So like, there's a lot of, I'm starting to find more and more heroes that I like just to have as a slot filler to use them for one little thing that I'm having trouble
Yeah.
deciding sometimes. Uh, okay,
Let's
so
go
my
to the
last
final
one
one. Yeah.
is AI or A or whatever the hell her name is.
I call her AI too. It's just it
Yeah, I'm
feels
gonna call
so.
her. I'm just gonna call her AI from now on because I don't know how to pronounce her name otherwise. But
Yeah.
it's funny. I looked at her in-game ratings or whatever. You should never do that, but you do anyway, right? When you pull a hero, and they were very underwhelming. And I think they were all in the threes or whatever. And I'm like, oh man, dude, like, okay, she must suck.
Crazy.
Like those are bad scores, generally speaking. And boy, are they so wrong. I feel I feel like, first of all, she's one of the coolest control heroes out there in the game. She throws these crystals on the ground. So she's not
Mm-hmm.
even attacking anybody. There's no need to build her for, crit rate, crit damage or anything like that. But she's throwing these ice seeds. There we go. And these seeds turn into bombs, but they also freeze. She has this insanely big range. Uh, her range, I think it gets bigger, better when you promote her or whatever. But like she has this massive
Right.
range, kind of like a Vortex type range.
Vortex. Right.
And she's just littering the ground with these seeds that freeze all the enemies. And then on top of that, they're exploding. They're doing AoE damage. It's she can be an insanely good damage dealer and a really good control champion. So I've heard, I haven't done this personally with mine, but I've heard she can like just deal just millions and millions of damage, especially in like Gear Raid 1, like where there's a cluster of
Yeah,
a lot
yeah.
of enemies. But for me, I just build her as like a massive control, like kind of like a Mari on steroids, kind of, with the freeze element. She doesn't bring all the debuffs that Mari brings, but I'm a big fan. So a lot of damage and a lot of control.
Yeah,
Have
yeah.
you used her?
I've used her only a little bit on the faction trial for her. I have a maybe level 50, I think. But I'm tempted to use her. I do know about her. I think I've seen a video on her for Gear Raid 1, but she is definitely an underrated hero that people shouldn't, neglect using.
Yeah,
Definitely
she's
don't.
really cool. Like you can put her in a lot of situations that aren't really intuitive until you build her and use her enough. Like for example, like even in like campaign in stage 9 or something, sometimes you just need to buy yourself time. And like
Right.
all those freezes that she's just laying out constantly, it can just be a nice pause and respite in the battle for you to, do
That's
whatever you need
right.
to do, cost regeneration, whatever it is that you need more of. She just buys you time in so many situations, which is so nice.
Yeah, that's great, man. I think we had
That's
enough
it, huh?
with our list. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys enjoyed our just rambling on our favorite champions, heroes. We just finished a raid collabs. It happens, guys. It happens. I want to hear your guys' thoughts on what your favorite heroes are. Let us know down below. We're gonna do a collab on Ash's channel, so wait for that. Thank you all so much. Thank you, Ash.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it, man.
Bye, guys.